Autism versus narcissism. We will start with the narcissist, then we will talk about the autistic person, and in the end, we'll put them together so that you can see the difference between the two. And as always, if any of my work resonates with you, please consider clicking the bell and subscribing. That being said, let's begin. Narcissists are known for their manipulative tendencies, constantly seeking admiration and validation from those around them. They often resort to extreme measures to bolster their self-image, attempting to convince others that they possess traits of autism in order to deviate the possibility that others deem them as narcissists. And some of the manipulation tactics narcissists can use are as follows. And by the way, not all narcissists trying to claim that they're autistic use these drastic measures, but I want to mention some of these anyway. Then we can go through the characteristics of the narcissist, moving on to the characteristics of autism. So first, the similarities, then how they differ. Number one, manipulation through over-exaggeration. Narcissists are masters of exaggeration, and the skill is no different when it comes to pretending to be autistic. They may amplify certain behaviors such as repetitive movements or rigid routines to ensure that their audience believes in their self-diagnosis. By playing the victim and emphasizing these behaviors, narcissists strategically create a false narrative to gain sympathy and attention. Number two, strategic selective mimicry. Narcissists, they will study the behavior of genuine individuals with autism and then mimic what they observe. They may adopt certain traits or mannerisms associated with autism to convince others of their supposed condition. You might notice in the covert that as talkative as they are around you, they become really, really quiet around others and they act all shy, some of them. I had a covert in my life and he would do that, especially around this couple that we knew that had an autistic child. He'd be all introverted and move his eyes from side to side and with his head hung low. Bizarre behavior, because he didn't act that way at all around some of his other friends. Around them, he would be super confident. He would be the all-knowing that everybody looked up to. Next, some will go as far as seeking clinical confirmation. To further validate their claim, narcissists might consult medical professionals or request a formal autism evaluation, and this calculated step aims to solidify their alleged diagnosis, thereby deceiving others into believing that they genuinely have ASD. They may manipulate healthcare providers or selectively present their behaviors during assessments, heightening the chances of receiving a diagnosis despite their absence of true autism traits. It's interesting how far they'll go. Number four, exploiting autism awareness. In recent years, public awareness and understanding of autism has increased significantly. Capitalizing on this societal progress, narcissists, they can use autism as a tool to gain favor or sympathy from others. They might utilize awareness campaigns, fundraisers, and social media posts to create an illusion of involvement in the autism community, crafting an image that aligns with their facade. Number five, emotional manipulation of family and friends. Does that shock anyone? Manipulating emotions is an integral part of a narcissist's modus operandi. They exploit the people closest to them, such as family and friends, by purposely causing confusion and doubt regarding their behavior. Through gaslighting and subtly manipulating those around them, narcissists create an atmosphere where the notion of their autism convincingly pervades conversations, further cementing their false claim. Number six, the strained impact. The narcissist's deceit regarding autism not only manipulates those around them, but it also undermines the genuine struggles faced by individuals with ASD. By hijacking a legitimate condition for their own benefit, narcissists diminish the public's understanding and empathy towards autism, potentially creating unwarranted skepticism and questioning of actual autism diagnosis. So we'll start with the characteristics of the narcissist, but first of all, I do want to mention that narcissism is a personality disorder, while autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder. Narcissism is a personality disorder characterized by an excessive and unrealistic sense of self-importance, a deep need for attention and admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. Individuals with narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD, typically have an inflated view of their own abilities and achievements, seeking constant praise and admiration from others to validate their self-worth. And for those of you who are new here to the world of narcissism, they have a sense of entitlement, expecting special treatment, and exploitation of others for personal gain is not uncommon. So now let's take a look at common traits associated with narcissistic personality disorder. And that includes, number one, grandiosity, a distorted view of one's own importance, abilities, and achievements. They may exaggerate their successes and talents while belittling others. Number two, their need for admiration, a constant craving for attention, praise, and validation from others. They'll often seek out situations where they can be the center of attention. Number three, the lack of empathy, difficulty understanding or relating to the feelings, the needs, and the experiences of others. They tend to disregard other people's emotions and are often seen as selfish or uncaring, because they are. Number four, a sense of entitlement, believing that they deserve special treatment or privileges due to their perceived superiority. They'll exploit others to fulfill their own needs and desires. Number five, exploitative behavior, taking advantage of others for personal gain, without regard for the feelings or well-being of those they manipulate or use. Six, we have arrogance and haughty behaviors, displaying an attitude of superiority, arrogance, and often belittling or demeaning others. Number seven, envy and jealousy, feeling resentful or envious of others' successes or possessions. They struggle with feelings of inadequacy and often attempt to undermine or devalue others to maintain their own self-esteem. Now, autism. Autism, also known as autism spectrum disorder, ASD, is a complex neurodevelopmental disorder that affects social interaction, communication, and behavior. It is characterized by a wide range of symptoms and behaviors that can vary in severity from person to person. And the common traits include, the first one is social challenges. Individuals with autism often have difficulty understanding and engaging in social interactions. They may have trouble maintaining eye contact, interpreting nonverbal cues, initiating or sustaining conversations, and understanding social norms or empathy. But with them, they're not doing it on purpose. The second one is communication differences. Many people with autism experience difficulties in verbal and nonverbal communication. Some individuals may have delayed language development, while others may have a strong vocabulary but struggle with conversation skills. They can also have repetitive or rigid speech patterns. The third one is repetitive behaviors. People with autism commonly engage in repetitive or restrictive behaviors. These might include repetitive body movements like hand flapping or rocking, rigid adherence to routines or rituals. You see that in The Big Bang Theory, for example, where Sheldon is rigid on his bathroom routines, for example, or which side of the couch that he sits on as his restrictive ritual. They also have an intense interest in specific topics or objects and resistance to change in their environment or daily routine. Number 4, we have sensory sensitivities. Many individuals with autism have sensory sensitivities and may be either hyposensitive or hypersensitive to certain stimuli. They may be overwhelmed by loud noises, crowded places, or specific textures. Number 5, special interests. People with autism frequently they develop intense focused interest in specific topics or activities, and these interests may become a significant part of their lives and provide them with a sense of comfort or enjoyment. Number 6, difficulty with transitions. Individuals with autism often struggle with transitions and change in routines. They may experience anxiety or have difficulty adapting to new situations or environments. But the narcissist who is always getting fired and starting new jobs doesn't seem to have difficulty adapting to their new situations, do they? So it's important to know that autism is a spectrum disorder, meaning that individuals may exhibit a wide range of abilities and characteristics. Additionally, each person with autism is unique and may have their own specific traits and strengths. While there may be some surface level similarities between autistic people and narcissists, it is important to note that these conditions are distinct and should not be confused. So here are a few general similarities and overlapping characteristics. Differences in social interaction. Both autistic individuals and narcissists may struggle with social interactions, but for different reasons. Autistic individuals typically face challenges in understanding and navigating social cues and norms, leading to difficulty in forming and maintaining relationships. On the other hand, narcissists will struggle with empathy, show arrogant behavior, and exploit others for personal gain. The autistic person is not out to exploit. The second one is sensory sensitivities, like we just mentioned, but both autistic individuals and narcissists can exhibit sensory sensitivities, although the underlying causes differ. Autistic individuals will experience hypersensitivity or hyposensitivity to certain sounds, textures, lights, or smells due to neurological differences. Narcissists, on the other hand, will have a heightened sensitivity to criticism or rejection, leading to defensive or aggressive behavior. The third one is deficits in emotional regulation. Both autistic individuals and narcissists may struggle with emotional regulation, albeit in different ways. Autistic individuals will have difficulty recognizing, understanding, and expressing emotions, which can result in emotional dysregulations. Narcissists, however, will struggle with regulating emotions due to a fragile self-esteem and a need for constant validation and admiration from others. The autistic person doesn't have that need for constant admiration. The fourth one is rigid thinking patterns. Both autistic individuals and narcissists may exhibit rigid thinking patterns. Although the underlying reasons may vary, autistic individuals often prefer routine and predictability due to difficulties in adapting to change. Narcissists, meanwhile, will exhibit rigidity in their beliefs, thinking that they are always right and being resistant to alternative viewpoints. So it's important to remember that while some characteristics can overlap, autism and narcissism are distinct conditions with their own specific diagnosis criteria and underlying causes. So in plain old English, the person on the autistic spectrum will not stonewall you if they get upset with you, where the narcissist will. The narcissist will give you the silent treatment for days, sometimes weeks. The autistic person will not. The autistic person will not be in contempt when they're denied an ask, where the narcissist will. The autistic person does not manipulate where the narcissist does. And when it comes to social interactions, the autistic person won't know how to behave around others, where the narcissist's behavior changes depending on who they're with and what they need. Manipulation. And lastly, the narcissist is envious of others where the autistic person is not. So there you go. My effort in explaining the difference. So that's all for today. So don't let them manipulate you anymore. Once you start to really see their manipulation, it almost becomes comical. You start to see how small they really are and how tall you were all along. I'll leave you with all of this to ponder on, and we shall see you in the next video. Bye for now.